Hey guys, welcome to our SoulFam Podcast where I interview space holders from all over the world. I'm your host, my name is Karolina, and I'm the connection catalyst. I help people connect on a deeper level with themselves, with others, and with the universe. Today on the show, we have Lindsay O'Neil, once again, the master energy healer, mama this time, and spiritual life coach. Welcome to the show, Lindsay. Nice to see you here. How are you doing?
Yes, thank you so much for that introduction and thank you for having me on the show. I am I'm really good. I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here and look forward to whatever comes up and comes through.
Amazing. So, we agreed today to talk about something that can be quite controversial, I think, because we want to talk about Reiki and debuting Reiki to only connect with source energy. And that's a topic that I also feel quite close to because of my personal story. But I would be curious to know first from you, like, how you see Reiki and how did you decide to actually, like, maybe go a little more away from it and go into something else that feels more pure, from what I understand.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Um, so first I just want to say this is my personal story, my personal experience, because as you mentioned, this is pretty controversial because a lot of people have had really beautiful healing experiences um, through Reiki, as have I, and I've held that space for a long time as a Reiki master. And um, I feel there is a lot of good, that's there, but my own personal story and kind of what has led to my transition is what I feel I can share, right? But yeah, so where to start? I feel for me, I really truly felt like I was always really held and protected in the space when I held the space. I know where my heart comes from. I know the integrity, and I felt really safe in the space. But I actually had an experience where I was in a group experience, and Reiki was part of it. And through that offering, I had a really dark experience. And it's so hard to put into words these type of things, right? But it really hit whatever happened in me, um, hit at a really deep wound, maybe many wounds that I had from who knows how many lifetimes. Like it brought up every fear, every anxiety, and there was just so much that I um so me I'm I'm trying to put it into words. Basically, I had a really challenging experience, and healing can be challenging, right? Like we go into these experiences, plant medicine, Reiki, whatever it is, to heal, and sometimes that is part of the path. This felt very much like there was a dark energy that had kind of entered my field that wasn't there prior. I woke up the night after experiencing this after the Reiki. I woke up um, in a really fearful. I woke up from a nightmare, and I just couldn't shake it. And this anxiety just like really was crippling. And I just felt all of the dis-ease and disharmony in the body. And I just knew there was something that wasn't right. And I actually reached out to a couple of different intuitives that I had worked with before, mentors, other intuitives, an astrologist that is really incredible, and I've worked with her to just to understand what was happening, because I could just tell this was not like a normal response. And I had tried to work with it myself for a couple weeks before I reached out for help, and then everyone that I reached out to pretty much was like, oh my gosh, I feel that energy around you, and this is actually for you to work through. Like every single person told me they were getting the message that it was part of my like spiritual initiation, if you will, and that I had to walk through this. So it was gonna happen. But when it comes to Reiki, my feeling is that just like anything in life, there are people that are holding the space with high integrity. They know how to open, they know how to close. They their heart's in the right place and they're connecting through a divine channel. But I don't know if it's just that there's so many more healers in the space that it's become diluted. I don't really know. I don't have the answers. All I have is the experience that I had. And then there were some synchronicities that led me to stepping away completely from Reiki. And one of them was, probably 4 years ago when I was pretty new in the Reiki game. As soon as I started doing Reiki, I held space for a lot of people right away. It was like a pretty quick, I felt really aligned at the time, and I had a lot of people trust me, and I worked with them, and it was beautiful. And I had someone come into my field that told me that she just wanted to let me know that Reiki had been infiltrated by the dark forces, and there was just I thought it was just totally crazy,
Bullshit.
bullshit. Yeah, I was like, she's lost her mind and like a wackadoo. It just felt really crazy for somebody to say that. And I also know some other things that she was processing at the time, and it just didn't align. And I would, there was fear, and I'm not big on, if something comes from fear, that to me is not truth, until I sit with it and I come to truth. So I continued to work in the Reiki space, and I continued to feel very protected in that space. And so again, that was 3-4 years ago. And then after all this happened, and I ultimately stumbled upon a mentor that I've now been working with for about a year, and she's incredible. I mean, she's been in this world for probably 2 decades in the plant medicine space and in the energy space, and she's just really she's very a wise, grounded, clear channel that felt really, really good. And as I tell her about sort of the process that I had gone through, because it really took me to the dark night of the soul. I was kind of in that dark place for 9 months. Honestly, it was like being in the womb and trying to get out of it. And when it cleared, there was all these synchronicities and signs and karmic things that I just know were released. And it all makes sense to me now. But long story short, when I started working with this mentor, she told me in the beginning, she was like, have you heard that there has been, that Reiki has been compromised, I think is the way that she said it. And, at this point, I'm like, it's funny you say that, because yes, I did hear that years ago and I thought it was crazy. And then now I've had this experience of my own. And I'm beginning to think that there's something to it. And I had already rebuked Reiki, stepped away from it before working with this woman. So if anything, it felt like validation coming, full circle. But, I just want to say it's so hard because, like you said, it's so controversial. And I do believe that it is and has been a really beautiful and powerful healing tool. And if anything, hopefully it has shown people how we are able to access energy. But I felt so called to step away from it and just connect to that pure divine channel that is there, that is God, that is within us, that is available to all of us, and that is so pure. It's why would we go through these symbols or this lineage? And that was just really the big thing that came through for me, is that maybe at the time that it was part of my path, actually, I know that it was meant to be part of my path, and it was all everything felt really safe and protected. And now I just know that I was led away from it. And yeah, so that's the Cliff Notes version of this crazy transition that I went through.
Wow, it sounds actually quite crazy, but to be honest, I'm not that surprised, because if I think of Reiki as kind of a collective thought form or collective energy of methodology and everything, of course, as in every area of our life, like in church or in spirituality or new age or whatever, there are light and dark people or forces or whatever. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone, if I was the dark force having an agenda that I want to make everything dark, I would actually infiltrate the bright, quote unquote, spaces, right? I would go into all these modalities that spiritual people used, to bring more light, and then instead bring more darkness, if I think about it. But it's interesting that you say that, because I've literally heard, before we start speaking about it, I've heard from a woman that she was completely manipulated by a Reiki master, that she entered some kind of training or whatever with him, where he placed himself as like a guru, and it was pretty much like a cult. And of course, people, because it's a modality that works, so obviously if it's placed in the hands of the, no, I don't know, dark people, they will abuse it, they will use it for their own benefit, for their own good, right? So like, as anything in life, it can be used for goodness and for darkness, I feel. And to be honest, like, I've done 2 levels of Reiki, but I've never really felt called to use the symbols. Like, because I've also got the access to like the divine energy when I was fasting on my 4th day of dry fast. When I did it for the first time, I felt like I got access to the energy that was coming from the top of my head. I could feel the vibrations coming through my spine to my hands and legs, and I didn't even know that was like Reiki or whatever. Like, but for me, I always use this word prana, Reiki as the same word. It's just life force energy. But now that we think about it and we talk about it, I feel like Reiki has its own kind of collective energy as this like specific methodology. So actually, I'm not going to use the word Reiki for prana anymore, because now it feels a little different for me, but I've never really felt called to use it in a way where how they taught me. I've always connected to the energy by myself, and then I would be like, okay, please God or the universe or whatever, transfer through me the energy that is most needed for this person now. And I don't actually have any symbols, I don't know, I don't perceive any masters as like above me or anything like that, which I see that in many of the spiritual fields, there are like gurus, and it could be in Reiki, it could be in satsang, it could be in anything really, where they place themselves on a pedestal. And this for me is already dark force infiltrating the methodology, because it's already not coming from oneness, which is what pure Reiki should be, right? Because it's a force that is stemming from God that is one. So then there is no hierarchy in it. Like, of course, someone can have more experience than you in something, but it doesn't mean that they are better, or that you should, I don't know, subject your own opinion or whatever energy to them. So it's interesting that we're talking about it, because I wouldn't be surprised at all if there was a dark force infiltrating in this methodology. And it's good that we talk about it, because people need to know that it might be a possibility, and maybe be more intentional when it comes to who they are doing some healing with, what kind of certain settings they have. Are they actually protected in terms of like creating a safety bubble around themselves, doing it with the people that they can really trust, and learning from people that they can really trust. Because yeah, I mean, I've heard so many different stories about being manipulated by spiritual gurus that I can't even count, and it's scaring the shit out of me that it's even happening. So I'm really grateful that you shared that, because it seems like 9 months, it seems like a long time to be in the process of getting out of something like that. So wow, I'm really proud of you that you got out of it, and that you're where you are right now, and that you're healthy mentally, and and you got this.
I think my experience was obviously different than, I mean, everyone's going to have a different experience with that, but I feel like mine, I can totally say that it was meant to be a part of my spiritual evolution, and that was what all of the people that I went to for help were telling me, that this is like to teach me to stand in my light, and to be able to cast it out without having to need any additional help. So it really, obviously now, like any challenge that we go through is what makes us, and it's what ends up ultimately bringing us into hopefully a state of like a better version of ourselves, right? And so if anything, I mean, now I can look at it and I can appreciate it, but it also has left me to contemplate Reiki as a whole. And like you said, I think too, it's just so important to recognize that we're all humans, doing inner divine healing work. So we're connected with the divine and we're doing that work, but we're still humans. And so also, if people haven't processed their own trauma and they haven't done their own work, and there's leaks, there's energy leaks that they don't know how to open, clear, and there's just so many things that I learned so much about the integrity of holding the space. And to your point, it's so important that they find people that they feel called to, that feel really safe, that are living in a way that they would want to live themselves. It's like you need to find somebody that is, their inner and their outer worlds are really aligned, and that you feel called to and trust it. I mean, I think that if you're connected to your intuition, you're going to be led to the right person. And if something feels off, then it's probably not the right space for you. But also, I think we go through these tough times and these like spiritual initiations, if you will, to learn as well. And for me, it took me on a wild journey, and it really helped me to like break free of I had so many different places that I went before coming to my center, but it really helped me to come to my center and to feel so sure-footed and to feel so safe, holding that kind of space now, which is, and not just holding it, but it's just a whole newfound understanding of it all, and so, yeah, I think in any field, there's darkness, whether it's, even if you think of like the medical system and you have these wonderful doctors that have studied forever, but if you go to a doctor and they're not asking you about your lifestyle and they don't have an aligned lifestyle and they're just giving you, opiates or whatnot to heal you or make you feel better, like to me, that's darkness too. So yes, there might be like dark force on like a whole, to like the greater extent of just consciousness, but then there's also like we're humans and humans have flaws, and you just have to be really careful, in any field. And yeah, so that's my experience with Reiki and rebuking it. But I do believe that there are I do believe that there are many, probably the majority. I hope the majority of Reiki practitioners have the integrity and the intention to be that pure divine channel. And as far as if the symbols are the problem or if it's the practitioner, I don't have the answer to that. All I have is my personal experience. And I feel like that's so important. I just want to say personal experience. This is my personal experience. Because I have so many friends and mentors that are still doing Reiki, and then that's where they are, and I still love them, right? And so anyway, I am just sharing from my own personal experience, my reason for moving into a different direction, and it feels really good.
Thanks so much for sharing. And as we were speaking, I was also thinking about my spiritual journey because it also started from being manipulated by a narcissist and psychopath. And it all was kind of like wrapped up in unconditional love and the world of psychedelics and how amazing everything is and how he's the one right and I'm the one wrong every time because he's obviously the leader of the cult. Now I know, but at the time I was just believing everything he said. And I was led by my intuition to enter into this relationship with him. And I feel like for me, it was actually necessary to go through it. As you said, it's like for you, that was kind of like a wake up call in some way. And for me, also being in this manipulative environment and having to find myself after being completely downgraded. And he tried to turn all my friends against me. And, like there was a lot of manipulation tactics that he would use, like cutting you off from friends and family, like classic kind of cult things, right? Where you're constantly like triangulated or compared or gaslit and things like that. So, and I feel like for me, it was actually important to go through it so that now I can have a better radar for people who are like that. So we all need to be aware, but sometimes even if we are aware, we are meant to go through the experience that then will open our eyes. Although, like, if we listen to our heart and our feelings and our intuition, we might avoid these kind of situations. But I don't know, like for me, I feel it was necessary because I was so, I don't know, powerless. I was so naive at the time as well. I just trusted everyone. And now I know that especially in the world of energy, you cannot trust everyone, and you actually need to be even more aware, because it all can be very nicely put and very lovingly expressed and depicted, everything that the people that might not have the best intention are doing. All right, so I came to the point, just like you, where I connect to the source, I become a pure channel of it for the highest and best intention of all. And I don't actually really mind what kind of energy is going to go through me, as long as it's going to help the most the person that I'm helping. And I've had, with this kind of energy healing, I've had, I think, more effective results than with any other thing that I would do when I'm just trusting my intuition, or when I'm just letting God or universe or whatever cosmic energy flow through me in whichever way it wants, because what can my ego mind know? Like, I don't know anything. So I can just be there and let it happen, and then I can just experience and witness the results that it's bringing. And I feel like that is at least my way. And I also respect Reiki healers and all these things. Do not get me wrong as well. For the audience to know, like, I respect the work and everything that the Reiki has changed, because it had a lot of amazing benefits for a lot of people in the world, and I still very much respect that. But we do need to be really aware, especially when someone is like, when a master is like making themselves the guru or something, right? So that's a red flag for sure, where the master is just like letting people believe only in his words and only in what he preaches and tells them to do. But yeah, it's pretty interesting that you've heard from two people that Reiki was kind of like, affected by the dark forces. I wonder if it's a thing. I mean, like, if people even talk about it, because I've never heard of it before. You're the first person that I've heard of it now. But to be honest, when I feel into it intuitively, I'm like, I actually find it to be true. Like, if I just listen to myself, just because it's so easy, it's so easy. And so let's be aware, and let's talk about it more, and let's spread this message, because I feel like after what I've gone through and what my friends have gone through, being intertwined with the dark forces, with really, really dark forces, and being so controlled and manipulated and downgraded by them, it's like, if I had weaker mind, and if I was weaker in myself, I don't know if I wouldn't end up in a psychiatric hospital. Like, if I think about it now, because I do have a friend who did, who was in the same group, and now he's in psychiatric hospital for the last few years. So I'm just really, I just really want to say it, not to get people into fear, but to just get people aware that these things are happening, and we need to be alert at all times to not trust blindly anyone who preaches love.
Yeah. 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 And I think in our cases, I don't know that everyone will have these kind of experiences. I don't know that everyone's meant to. I think that, we're in Earth School and our souls chose to go through different initiations. And I'm obviously in this work, and I felt like it was so necessary to be shown the darkness, because I, like you, was very naive in a way that I just felt like it's all love and light, because that's where my heart is. And I think that it was so important for me to go through this experience, to come to the other side, to know that there's so much more. And especially letting people into my energy field. It's one thing when I'm holding this space, but to your point also of like sitting with it and intuitively feeling into what it feels like, as far as if Reiki was infiltrated or not. When I sat with it for 9 months, that was my also take. Like, I've had two people now say it, and it feels very synchronistic, but when I sit with it, there is something there that I don't have the complete words for or the answer to. I just felt like I kept getting this message that it's not for me. It's not for me. It's not for me. And I know I'm so protected. I just feel that, and I know that I'm being led, in such a beautiful way. So to me, there's a reason that I'm being led away from it. And I just have to like honor that. And I feel like everybody will have their, like, these stories will probably become a little bit more relevant, and maybe I also do like to hold that I think that there are many truths that can be, like there might be a place where, like, for somebody Reiki is fine. Like maybe it's kind of like with church we mentioned earlier, like maybe like for some people I think that is like such a beautiful avenue. For others I think it's bondage and control, and like, so I think that it depends like what our souls came to master and how far we are down the path of liberation, and to moksha, like where are we at in this, like, um in this spectrum. And I feel like there's certain, sort of places that each of us are ready to go, and I was ready to be like out of this. So does that make sense? That kind of came
Yes,
through for me right now, just to say that, like, maybe if we hold multiple truths at once, like Reiki is okay for some people, and it's exactly what is needed, and there is love and light in those spaces. And my soul was just
absolutely.
like, I need you to experience something greater in this life, that is just this one divine pure channel, and trust yourself, trust your intuition, trust your channel, and not need something else, And so that was the message that I got, that like it's time to trust yourself, trust God, and like these tools are not necessary.
And what is your personal favorite way to connect to the source energy? Because we were talking about kind of going away from Reiki, but still coming closer to the pure channel of source. So, what's your favorite way to do that?
Yeah. Honestly, meditating has always been like my place of connecting. Like I take time every single day to meditate. I love to like have my little ritual with my cacao, and I sit down and meditate. I love to be in nature, and yeah, and I just connect to my heart. I make sure that I'm grounded and centered, and then I feel like there's always this divine channel that opens up, and I'm just so grateful for that. But yeah, it doesn't take me a lot. I don't need a lot. I just need to sit in front of my altar with my cacao and pray, and I'm met right there.
Beautiful. Yeah, for me, it's even now, I feel only the intention when I'm just getting my mind pure with a few breaths, and only the intention to tap into this is already
Yeah,
like
it's just the
enough for me.
intention.
Just because I believe it happens, I feel like
Exactly.
it just does.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And I think there's something to that too. Like whatever you believe is true is true. So that goes back to the Reiki as well. Like if I'm feeling this one truth, then it's true for me. Like I've already made that true. So I think it's just also, yeah, very important to like be able to like really connect to your own intuition, because if it's true for you, it's true. If it's not true for you, then maybe it's not. Like it's we are so powerful, and making that and creating our reality, really. Not that I wanted this to be a truth. I certainly didn't want it to be a truth, but um in my world it is right now. Yeah.
Yes, and I feel like the objective truth might be as well the combination of all the subjective truths. So if something is true for me and you, and for someone else, something else is true, the objective truth is just like the mix of all truths. So as you said, it might be true for me, doesn't have to be true for someone else, and that's beautiful. So, dear, if someone really vibes with you and would maybe want to connect to you more, maybe get some energy healing from you straight from the source, what is the best way to find you and to connect with you?
Yep. So I am on Instagram. It's Lindsay McComas. I am working on my website as well, which is I am Lindsay Alita. So it's a little confusing. You announced me as Lindsay O'Neil. Now I got Lindsay. So I am now married too. So my name has changed. So it's Lindsay McComas actually. And then my previous site was I am Lindsay Alita. So I know that's really confusing, but those are the two places right now. And I'm still kind of coming out of the cocoon of this motherhood. Like I really surrendered to motherhood, and so I've just started to kind of come back to this space. And yeah, I look forward to holding space from this place.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for sharing everything. I really appreciate your input. I feel like it was an important conversation.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.